The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the producers and the individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff of the Sun Prairie Media Center, its members or underwriters, the board members of the Media Center Commission, Charter Communications, TDS Telecom, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello, and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit, and the man seated next to me only watches the Super Bowl for the halftime show. His name is Mike Roth.
World's best halftime show.
That's kind of the consensus, right?
Yeah, everyone, I think this is going to be the best one. You cannot top this, and then they do it again every year. Isn't that great?
The best of the best.
I never really liked Maroon 5 until now.
Oh, this is what turned you?
Yes, this is what turned me onto it. Yeah,
you're the guy.
Wow.
You're the one.
Did anybody watch the Super Bowl? Really? I mean, really?
I was there.
There we go.
I was at the Super Bowl.
A lot of the commercials they play beforehand anyway, so you
I'd
don't really see anything new.
I'd already seen the Big Lebowski one like a week ahead of time, and was disappointed by it then, and even more so when I saw it on TV.
There you go.
Boo.
So really, the only thing you have when you watch Super Bowl is the halftime show.
Right. SpongeBob SquarePants and Maroon 5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do Puppy Bowl next year. I really am.
That's a good choice. Yeah. That's a great choice. So this week we have a few movies to discuss, but first we bring back a beloved segment. The streaming spotlight is back. Mike,
I get to do it.
What are we talking about?
We're Velvet Buzzsaw, directed by Dan Gilroy, and Jake Gyllenhaal is back acting in it. This is a horror movie. What we have is an interesting take where you take all these very shallow, superficial, self-centered artists and critics and sellers of art. Mm-hmm. And pretty much you give them a curse and watch each one die one by one. The plot itself is not really groundbreaking, but the acting I find is phenomenal. It's Dan Gilroy, if you're not familiar, he's also did Nightcrawler, which was one of my favorite films. It still has that kind of sense where a lot of these shots seem very powerful. Felt like it was telling a story of LA. I really enjoyed this movie. There's a couple things that I had problems with, and that is this movie did a good job at getting me interested in the story, and then it got bogged down with long death scenes, which is pretty much obligatory for horror movies. And also, they kept going back to these scenes where they had to prove that these people are really shallow and self-centered, which I got it, but at the time, where they kept on showing me this, I was more interested in where the mystery was going, why they were being cursed, why these paintings were killing people, and not too interested at that time, all these scenes of people being shallow. I think on a second time of watching this, I might enjoy it even more, but the first time I thought it was really good.
See, and I had a really hard time getting into this. I was really excited because, Nightcrawler is my favorite movie of the year that came out. And so I was really excited, like Gilroy and Gyllenhaal. And then this cast, you have Rene Russo, you have Toni Collette, John Malkovich, Billy Magnuson. It's a really great cast. Zao Ashton is Josephina. She was great. And I had a really hard time getting into this. Like, it took me several tries to get into this. I kind of watched, but not really watched it once, and then realized, I didn't even watch that. I got to watch it again. Yeah. And so it took me a while, and the movie I found got better as it went along and really started to kind of sink its hook into me about halfway through. And I like how it kind of is a take on everyone who's greedy and trying to make money off of art. Yeah. Gets their comeuppance. I like that because it is all of these people who are just trying one way or another to either gain esteem in other people's eyes, make themselves look better, or to make money off of art. And it's really, I like how Gilroy wrote this. It's like, the art critic, unfortunately, it's kind of a shot at guys like us who kind of are critics of art. Like, you know what, you think you're something?
But I think they did a really good job at fleshing out these characters where they seemed a little more than what they are. You had one scene where they're all at a funeral. And they could have cut that scene out, and I would have been happy because I felt like it bogged down the scene. But if you take the scene alone, separately, it was fantastic of people coming in to mourn the death of someone they really didn't care for that much. And people are telling them, hey, friends and family are here. And they're like, no one's important but me. I am the most important person in this room. And it was more about networking instead of grieving. And all these people, you're like, yeah, I'm pretty okay with you dying later.
Everyone in this movie, outside of Josephina, is someone who has to try and flex their power over whoever they are, whether it's an art agent or an artist or whoever. They all have to flex their power. Even the guy, Billy Magnuson, who's like a repairman. Yeah. His first thing when he meets somebody is like, I'm actually somebody. I'm an artist too. I'm not just the guy fixing your cable. I'm somebody. And he flexes his power later on in the movie. Like, everyone has to assert their strength over their subordinates wherever they can. Yeah.
It made them look really cheap and easy targets for a death scene. There was a mystery. The mystery is the actual curse. There was a painter named Dees, and he died, and no one knew who he was. One of the art vendors or aspiring art vendors found all the artwork, claimed it as stuff in the garbage, which was a lie, and then sold it. These paintings were remarkable. Everybody who ever looked at them just said, this is stuff that moved me. This is worth millions of dollars.
Think the painting in The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
Things start to move.
And things start to move, and it was creepy, and I was really interested in who Dees was, how these paintings came to life. What is it that, because they didn't tell you exactly what was happening. And then later on, they told me, but at that time I was like, oh, all these death scenes and stuff kind of bogged it down. I wanted to hear about it earlier.
One of the things I love about this movie is Jake Gyllenhaal's name in this movie, Morph Van de Walt.
Yep. Yeah.
That is a name and a half.
Well, a lot of these were really pretentious names. You have Coco and Piers.
Redora Hayes.
John Don.
I love it. This is absolutely not what I was expecting.
No.
That's one of the things for me that took me the two watchings to really wrap my head around. Was I went into this with a bit of a preconceived notion of what I was going to get into just off of very little information. And part of that was why I struggled to get into this, I think, because it was like, this isn't what I thought. When's what I'm thinking going to happen?
Yeah, this is a very standard horror movie with fantastic acting.
Yeah. What did you end up giving Velvet Buzzsaw?
I gave it a 4. I really enjoyed this movie. I like the shots. I like the acting. I like the characters. The movie itself really is just a standard horror movie.
Yep. I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's an enjoyable movie. It's worth checking out. It's on Netflix right now. So I'm sure if you have Netflix, it's on your main screen being advertised fairly heavily right now. So it's worth checking out. Absolutely.
I think Netflix is getting a huge push lately as a place to go to get great movies.
I mean, it's everything. They just bought the Zac Efron, what's his name? Ted Bundy movie that was supposed to go into theaters. Netflix bought it. I mean, they have a lot of power right now. A lot of power. All right, let's take a look at what is on the marquee this week. And I'm going to start us off with a film that's from writer-director Pawel Pawlikoski. It is Cold War. Now, technically, this movie was a 2018 movie. It was one of those shown in New York and LA in 2018. So Pawel Pawlikoski is nominated for Best Director. He's one of the 5 choices for Best Director for this film in this year's Oscars. Stars Joanna Kulig as Zula and Tomas Kot as Victor. And it is a love story spanning multiple decades between a music director, Victor, and a singer in communist Poland. Victor desperately wants to escape to France with her, and she is incredibly talented. She kind of serves as his muse and his love, and this movie kind of really smash cuts from like year to year. It's all shot in black and white. It's in Polish. They're in communist Poland. At one point, he escapes to France. He tries to get her there. And the movie is really just this massive love story. And it's beautiful because it's full of music, lots of great music, lots of very traditional dance to that time and that era.
Is the ratio the same as it is for the trailer
it's
in
standard.
the movie theater? Okay.
Yeah. And what's interesting is like this couple, they're kind of like magnets, that they're drawn to each other when they're apart. But when they get close to each other, they kind of repel each other. And it's really interesting, this love story of, trials and tribulations with this love, but when they're together, they're too much for each other. And it alternates between these really grim scenes and a lot of quiet moments of Victor just smoking. He's constantly smoking. And just grim scenes of him smoking and just looking kind of sweaty in these clubs. And then alternate that with this dreary, melancholy existence, and then these beautiful showcases of performances and beautiful songs. And it's a really great movie. It's really somber in points, but I love it. And I mean, really, the two main leads are incredible. And this was, Pawlikoski wrote this about his parents. It was kind of based on his parents and their relationship with each other that wasn't necessarily great. They were in love, but maybe best in love apart from each other. And just the whole story of this era in this Cold War, literally back and forth across a wall, and really great. And so, I mean, I gave it 5 stars.
Wow.
If I had seen this, so technically it's a 2018 movie, right? Because it was released in 2018 somewhere. So if I had seen this before I made my list, this would have been in my top 10. This would have bumped off one of the documentaries I had at number 10.
Was this nominated for?
It's nominated for Best Director, Best Direction. It had a couple other too, and I can't remember. Cinematography.
Okay.
And I don't remember what the other one is off the top of my head. But yeah, it received multiple Oscar nominations this year.
Very cool.
Really good flick, really good. So it's worth checking out as it now comes into wide release as they do near you. It's worth finding.
It bugs me so much.
It really does.
It does.
I mean, it's February and we're just getting these.
Yeah.
Come on.
This is something that I complain about every year, multiple times.
This is nominated for Best Foreign Film as well. It'll probably
Yeah.
lose to Roma in that category, but it's nominated for Best Foreign Film. So, anyways, 5 stars. Check out Cold War.
All right.
What do you have for us, sir?
Well,
what 5-star movie do you have?
Our big movie, not an Oscar nominated one.
Probably not.
But Miss Bala. This is a remake of the 2011 Miss Bala, which was all in Spanish, and of course, anything that's in a foreign language, we have to remake and kind of make a little inferior compared to the original. So, director Catherine Hardwicke, she decides she's going to make the attempt of making a better movie. Gina Rodriguez, she plays Gloria. She is an American makeup artist. She goes to see her best friend in Tijuana, and something happens at a club where her friend is missing, and she gets captured by some gangsters that all of a sudden love her. The lead cartel guy just falls in love with her, and she does all these things that are very suspicious, but it's okay because I guess he's in love. And you're supposed to, I think the audience is supposed to switch back and forth if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but we don't. Every time you watch this, you're like, no, he's a bad guy, and you feel like Gina is like all of a sudden, oh, I kind of like him.
Yeah, trying to make the cartel boss a sympathetic figure. Like,
yeah,
what?
And really you can't. And then you're supposed to think that the DOA is bad guys, and they did some really stupid things also.
Yeah, that Fed agent was a complete joke in this movie.
No, this movie is kind of... Okay, I give it a mediocre score, and everybody's going to find out. Spoiler alert, you're going to find out what my score is. This is not written well at all. But I felt like the action was done well, and I did like Gina Rodriguez.
I did too. I liked her.
As an actor, I thought she was fantastic. I did like looking at the sights and sounds of Tijuana. I thought that was very pleasant. And this movie did play along well. I didn't think it became slow. It was just written very stupid.
I have a couple of questions for you about this movie. First off, why was the pageant even a part of this storyline?
Because
How did
it
this
wasn't
serve
the
story?
original movie.
Yeah,
And that's
because
it.
they keep mentioning it, like, we're going to put you in the pageant.
Yeah.
Like, great.
See,
It doesn't serve any purpose of the story.
in the original, Miss Bala was someone who went for the pageant, and everything kind of revolved around here, where in this one, the
It
person...
served no purpose.
No, the person who should have been Miss Bala ended up being kidnapped, and then Gina Rodriguez, who was just a friend in town...
It feels like halfway through the movie, like, oh yeah, we had a pageant Make her show up at the pageant place for 2 minutes.
And then they did this weird thing where they had to put Gina in the pageant, and she came out of nowhere, and everybody was just accepting.
Of course, that happens. Other question. Her friend's little brother.
Yeah. Yes.
Seemed completely unfazed by the fact that his sister never came home.
No. And
they left him, and they're like, we're going to go to a club. And then the next day, he wakes up, and Gloria calls, and he's like, where's my sister? She's like, oh, don't worry, she'll be home. And then another day goes by, and he's like, so, anyways, can I play Pac-Man?
Oh, crazy.
Like, yeah, your sister's been kidnapped, dude.
I thought what was more crazy is then after Gina came and said, oh, by the way, I lied about your sister, and there's the bad guys here and a dead guy in your kitchen. Yeah. I need you to trust me.
Yeah, just pack a bag. Cool.
Okay, sure. All right, let's do it.
Completely unfazed by this. I'm like, what goes on in that house?
And the relationship that Gloria had, that's Gina Rodriguez, I've been saying Gina all this time, with Lino, who is played by Ismael Cruz.
Who's not an actor. He's actually a boxer.
He's a boxer, and it shows that he's not really an actor. He can do, I'm a really bad guy, I'm a really good guy, on a turn of a dime, almost kind of schizophrenic. Or it felt weird, but...
It did feel weird.
I felt like because it was weird, it fit that role.
My issue with this movie is, like, I enjoyed some of the action. I do think that a good chunk of this film was kind of boring, though, to me, until we got really to the final minutes. Because, the movie is sold through the trailers as being like an action movie. It felt, I thought, through the trailers like it was a revenge flick. Like, you show a lot of her walking around with a gun, shooting people.
Yeah.
That stuff don't happen until there's about 6 minutes left in the movie. She doesn't pick that gun up until the end of the movie. And so, my big issue with this movie is she is a damsel in distress through this entire movie. She does whatever the man that's standing next to her at the time tells her to do.
Yeah.
Whoever that man is, whether it's a Fed agent, whether it's a cartel guy, whether it's the guy who runs the pageant, he tells her you're going to do this. She's like, okay, I'll do that. That's what I should do.
She was not a hero. She was pretty much a victim through most of the movie.
She absolutely was. And I just want to find my friend. I want to find my friend. But she had no agency in her own life. She just went along with whatever she was told to do. And it was just like, come on. This movie should have been made in 1988 if you're going to do that.
This is going to sound terrible, but the one thing that bugged me the most was the gaffers.
Yeah?
Yeah, the sound.
Yeah.
Oh, and they have a grenade lobbed through the air. It sounded like an airplane running.
Yeah.
It was lobbed. It was just a hand grenade. They don't make big noises like that. But for some reason, that just bugged the heck out of me.
That's all right. That's nothing wrong with that. What did you end up giving old Miss Bala?
I gave it 2.5. I think it's watchable.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's watchable.
Yeah, I gave it 2 out of 5. Like, I wish it was more entertaining, whether there would be more action or give Gina Rodriguez more to do, because I do think she's capable of more than what they gave her. Yeah. And instead of her just running around as a damsel in distress, I wanted to see her do more. Also, a lot of what happened in this movie really was coincidence. She lived on coincidence a lot.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many times like, ooh, she might be in trouble. Oh, coincidence comes, and she's not.
I thought some of the things that were just, like, she escapes, and then she just turns on her phone, and everybody's, oh, yeah, that's fine, nothing, nothing weird here.
But why are they trusting? Why are they so trusting of this girl that they just kidnapped 8 hours ago?
Not to beat a dead horse, but I would love to see bad movies be limited releases and good movies being major motion
Can we flip
picture.
these? Can Cold War be in every theater?
Exactly.
And Miss Bala just kind of, you got to chase it down?
Yeah, just like, oh, I can't find Miss Bala. Why? Well, because it's bad.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I'm with you. I will sign that proclamation. Let's make that happen. Let's see. So that's all we have on the marquee this week for our throwback movie. We decided to go with a film that was about a female who gained agency over herself by using a gun, just like Miss Gina Rodriguez did. So we went back to 1995, a movie that I enjoy, The Quick and the Dead, from director Sam Raimi. This stars Sharon Stone. She is that lead female character.
This was back when she was really hot.
I mean, this was coming right off the heels of Basic Instinct and Sliver.
Yep.
You know, the big one. And she stars as a lady named Ellen. She's a female gunslinger who has shown up in town for a quick draw tournament put on by Herod, who's the man who runs the town, played by Gene Hackman. Just despicable in this movie, too. I love him.
He plays a lot of bad guys.
Love him when he's despicable. She is out to avenge her father's death, and we find out little pieces of this as the movie goes along, but she's got a reason for showing up. This movie is a smorgasbord of talent from that time. You also have a preacher who is a great gunman who refuses to draw a gun now because he's found the Lord. That's played by Russell Crowe in his first American movie.
Wow.
First time. Sharon Stone found him and said, I want him in this movie. And Sam Raimi's like, she's like, I want him. Also, another actor, which she said, I will pay his salary to get him in this movie, is a very young Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wow.
As a young hotshot who's fast and cocky and ready, who believes his own hype.
Was this before Gilbert?
I believe so. He was 21 years old in this.
Okay.
But even, I think Gilbert was 96.
Okay.
This was, first off, 1995, this was during a run where a lot of Westerns were being made.
Mm-hmm.
You had Unforgiven won the Academy Award the year before. You had Tombstone and Wyatt Earp. You had even Bad Girls, as much as that movie's not great. Wild Bill. We're making Westerns with big stars in them. And this was Sam Raimi's homage to Sergio Leone's spaghetti Westerns. One of the things I love is, the camera work in this is great. It's a little dated, but it's fun.
Oh, he's always had this kind of cheesy,
Yeah.
but it's obvious.
One of the things he did, which I thought was great, and he said he did it just because he'd never seen it in a Western before, was in the final battle when Herod gets his comeuppance and gets shot. You see the sunlight come through the hole in his body. Like the bullet went all the way through, created a perfect hole, and there's a beam of sunlight coming through him. And Sam Raimi's like, I always wanted to see that, so I made it.
Yep. He is the kind of guy who does things like that. He loves Three Stooges. You can see Three Stooges inspire his movies.
You also, a cast like Lance Hendrickson, Gary Sinise, Keith David. It's a fun cast. I love this. Sharon Stone was really good in this. Gene Hackman's really good in this. I was reading some of the notes about this movie. This is the one, I believe they said the only movie that doesn't feature Bruce Campbell. He got cut out of this movie.
Oh.
He was a guy in the saloon. His scene got cut. Also, does not feature Sam Raimi's beloved car, his Buick.
That would have been tough.
Right.
Yeah.
Would have been tough to have that in there. So he's like, yeah, this is the one. I couldn't find a way to jam that into this Western from the 1860s.
Yeah.
Why do you got a 72 Buick in here? But yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. It does feel of the time. It feels like 1995, but it's enjoyable, and it's basically the movie. I like that it starts off right at the beginning. We're having a quick draw contest. We introduce all the main characters as the saloon owner just has the board up. We're having a quick draw contest, and it's like March Madness bracket style. Who's in? And everyone steps forward. Sven Ole Thorsen comes in, the big Swede, like, oh, put me in. I'm the Swedish quick draw champion. Like, yes. And then the rest of the movie is basically just a quick draw contest for an hour and a half.
Do you have this on disc?
I do.
You're going to loan it out to me?
I absolutely.
All right, thank you very much.
I'll loan it to anyone that wants to watch it.
All right.
Quick and the Dead's good stuff. So anyways.
So check out your local library or Jameson Rabbit.
Give me a call. I'll bring it over. I'll just sit there and I'll tell you about it. I'll just come sit down in your living room. We'll go over it.
And in this scene,
I'll get the screenplay. I'll read it to you as you drift off to sleep. Stroke your hair. This is getting weird. So anyways, that came out in 1995. I recommend it. Let's take a look ahead, sir. It wasn't going to be coming out. You know what? We have a holiday coming up.
yeah.
Seems like we just got done with the holidays. Nay, sir. We have a holiday for sweethearts coming out. February 13th, we have Happy Death Day to You.
I am looking forward to
Are
it.
ya?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Did you like that first one?
I love the first
That's
one.
right, you did.
I've watched it many times.
Okay.
I'm not too psyched about a sequel, but hey, it was a good movie. All you have to do is redo what you did in the first one. I'll be happy.
It looks like that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I did not love that first one.
No?
And when I saw this trailer for this one the first time, you could have heard my eyes roll.
Well, a good thing about this holiday season, there is no 50 Shades movie.
Thank God.
Isn't that awesome?
It is great. It's great. So we have Happy Death Day to You. We also have on February 13th, Isn't It Romantic? It is the Rebel Wilson rom-com that is an anti-rom-com, like trying to parody rom-coms.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
Okay.
We'll see about that. And then the next day, February 14th, get your box of chocolates and head on over to the theater because Mike is going to finally get to see Alita Battle Angel.
It's been over a year.
It has finally happened. It is here. I can stop seeing the trailers. I've seen that trailer for a year plus.
You know what? I think you might be jinxing it.
Oh,
let's
it's
just
going to get pushed back again?
push
You know, it's
back
gonna
till
be in
February
July
of
now.
next year.
Yeah. So Alita Battle Angel is coming out, as well as in a limited release, a film called Fighting with My Family, which is a WWE film all about the life and times of one of the wrestlers, Paige, because she grew up in a wrestling family.
I actually was mentioning this to you before we started the show. I'm surprised this is a limited release. I've seen the trailers.
I mean, The Rock's in it, right?
Yeah.
Should be big screens everywhere.
Yeah.
Just because The Rock's in it, nothing else. Yeah, it's an interesting story if you don't know about Paige. It is a really interesting story of like, she's like, her family's like the first family of British wrestling in like the last 20 years. So kind of interesting. So those are the films that will be coming out over the holiday weekend.
What is your favorite Valentine's movie?
Are there a lot of Valentine's movies?
Deadpool, my favorite Valentine movie.
It's a pretty sweet one. I think Overnight Delivery is a Valentine's movie, and I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. My wife will like that. That's her favorite. Otherwise, Valentine's Day, the Gary Marshall movie. No, that movie's terrible. The movie's awful.
There's the Valentine, the horror movie that I enjoyed.
My Bloody Valentine?
Yeah, in 3D.
That was the first of the new wave of 3D that we started getting. That was the first one I saw. I was like, oh, 3D's back again? We're doing this again?
Did you like it?
I did at the time because it had been so long since I saw it. And it was like, oh, it's kind of well done now.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they used the 3D.
They really used
That
it.
was like-
They exploited the 3D.
Yeah, I mean, things are flying at you left and right. And that's what I like out of my 3D.
I think my first 3D when they started bringing it back was that Christmas Carol one.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely
no thank you.
horrible.
I wanted 0 Ds on that. Anyways, of course, before we leave you, we want to thank our sponsor, the Palace Cinema here in Sun Prairie Marcus Theaters. Thank you for sponsoring our show. I got a cute little face looking at me over here off camera.
We got a live studio audience.
Yeah. Thank you for sponsoring. We do appreciate it. There's a lot of fun things going on there. In fact, I stopped by today. They have a big movie poster in the lobby for a movie that's coming out soon that's tactile. It's fuzzy. It's about an abominable snowman.
I touched it. Yep.
And I want to know what that thing's going to look like in a week because everyone is touching it. That thing is going to get rough looking real quick.
It's really going to get nasty. Hopefully
little
everybody's
dirty
wearing
kid hands.
gloves.
Like, the bottom of it's going to be gross.
Well, now I feel kind of gross because I touched it.
Oh, don't worry.
Don't worry.
There's nothing on it. No worries. No DNA. So anyways, thank you for that. If you want to find more from us, by the way, I didn't mention it, sir. This is our 250th episode. 250.
Congratulations.
I just thought about that. It is. Congratulations to you. 250 episodes.
We're going to have to do this 4 more times.
Yeah?
Yeah, so we can get that 1,000.
Get to 1,000? That would be 500 if we. Oh, you mean 250 more? Oh, boy. 1,000? That's 20 years of doing this.
It only took almost 5 years. Yeah.
5 years coming up soon.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yes, sir. So anyways, happy 250. If you want to see all 250 episodes, you can find us online anytime on demand at sunprairiemediacenter.com. There's an on-demand player. You can also find us on YouTube, Real Reviews, KSUN, KSUN. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, so are we. Look for Real Reviews TV.
And if you watch all episodes and able to pass a certain quiz that is going to be extremely difficult, I will take you out to dinner.
Fill in a lot of bubbles, and then Mike's going to grade it.
Yep.
And out to dinner, I know what that means.
Yep.
You're eating fish fillets. Lent's coming up. Fish fillets are cheap. Anyways, next week, we are going to be talking about films such as the Liam Neeson thriller comedy Cold Pursuit, Lego Movie 2, Prodigy, and Mike's favorite, What Men Want. It's going to be an exciting week, sir. I cannot wait. And then the week after that, we're going to be talking about our Oscar predictions because that is coming up February 24th.
That's going to be during Alita week.
It is. Yeah. That's an Oscar movie in its own.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. 2 years.
Absolutely. All right. Anyways, that's all we've got for you. We hope you all have a wonderful week. But until we meet again, I'm Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.